Thank you, Doug. Thank you for everyone that's here today. I appreciate you coming. I know you're not here to learn about our construction, but I'm still thankful that you're here just to hear what we have going on. So we've been asked, and the reason why we're doing this, I've been asked by a couple folks. First of all, what's the construction that's going on? Why are we away for training camp this year? Are you doing this because of some grade you may have received? And the truth of the matter is, I guess I'll cut through it all. We're doing this because we truly do want to have the best facilities in the National Football League. As for a lot of folks that are here with us, you may or may not remember, when we moved in here, and I think there is I want to say that there is you have the packages in front of you. When we moved in '96, I distinctly remember. I wasn't the CFO then. I was actually the auditor then, and I remember the big party they had when they moved in here. It seems like in a blink of an eye, here we are, over 20, almost 30 years later. The interesting thing I could tell you when we moved in here in '96, I remember the buzz being the facility was so big and nice that we could never find enough employees to fill it out. And since then, we have expanded and expanded and expanded, as you can see. About 6-7 years ago, we realized that, first of all, we really do like being in this location. We like being in LaSalle Track. Our players like it, our coaches like it, our employees like it. I mean, it's in a great spot with regards to where a lot of our employees live and their families are growing up. And it's close proximity to the airport, which is nice. And so there's a tremendous amount of benefits of being here at the LaSalle Track. So we made the decision that we were going to be here long term. So in doing that, we realized we had to upgrade our facilities. And with Mickey and Mrs. Benson and myself and folks that are up here with me, and not many others in the organization, we're always constantly talking about how we can be the best in the league. And so as you may or may not recall, we started, and I know we have the timeline here, but for what you see, you probably have seen over the last couple of years, you've seen renovations in our locker room, in our training room, in our meeting rooms, in our big meeting room. Other areas include our upstairs. We totally revamped this year our draft room, and all along that whole time, we knew we had to address the cafeteria, and we had to address some of the other areas around the indoor practice facility. I guess concurrently, or going down a parallel path, just for the folks that are keeping score, we're doing the same thing across the street, or across the parking lot rather, in the Pelicans facility as well. And so we hired Gensler, which is arguably one of the best, if not the best, architects as it relates to practice facilities in the country and stadium construction and architectural services, to really go out and see what we could do in this area, what we could do with our practice facility. They came back. They brought us the best of the best of what's happened around the league and how that can be incorporated into what we're doing. And so we began the process of incorporating some of those things right away, and at the same time, again, on a parallel path, we started a master plan study on what can be done out here. As part of that master plan study, it really took into effect what we need now and what we need in the future. And as much as I'd like to say we'd like to future-proof it, as we learned in 1996, that's impossible. But Ms. Benson made the commitment for us to start implementing many things on the master plan, some of the things we had started. And a big component of it is what we're seeing, the construction that's gone on right now. The construction that you're seeing going on right now has to do with our cafeteria. The one thing I tell you, when you have the master plan, you're moving along in the master plan. One of the big items you have to do is be able to fit all the components together, because we really try to avoid construction during, obviously, our playing during our seasons, and then during our practice seasons and training camp and whatnot. But also, as you go down that path and as you put those pieces together from a construction standpoint, you realize very quickly that X has to be done before Y before we could start with Z. And where we are right now with the cafeterias was one of the I would say one of the, I won't say last, but one of the things a little bit further down the road for us to do, and part of that had to do with COVID and steel production and also some power and electricity orders that we had to make. I want to say that the steel that you see going up, and Maureen's going to give you a tour later, was probably ordered well over 2 years ago, maybe longer than that, so that we can be prepared to move as quickly as we could at the end of the season. Again, our goal is not to interrupt our football season at all. What you're going to see is probably a project that would typically probably take a year. We're trying to compress it into 9 months, and part of that was to have everything ready and staged immediately after last season so we can get moving on it. And it's working out well, and they certainly don't want to. No one wants to commit to it, but I think we're going to be ahead of time. At least that's what I'm telling them. Anyway, so I think we're in a good place there. Unfortunately, we're going to have our training camp off site this year because of what we're doing. I think you just had lunch here. You saw the limited space we have. We cannot. We cannot have training camp when you're looking at well over probably 150 people who would be more than that probably that would be eating. There are 3 meals in an area that size. So it's unfortunate, but it's what we have to do to make it great. And so just another really recap, and I'll open up to ask. You could ask any questions you want. Another interesting thing, and first of all, I want to thank both of these folks, obviously Ms. Benson, Mickey, everybody else who participates, all of our vice presidents, everyone. I mean, over the course of the last couple of years, between the Superdome, the construction going to the Superdome, I mean, it's roughly $500 million, of which, we're committing over 180, and maybe even more than that, to be perfectly honest with you, because we are also updating our locker room, which I will tell you, our locker room in Superdome moving forward, I think you'll see that it will obviously. I think it'll be the best in the National Football League when it's done. It's a very large renovation that we've done. Another renovation that took multiple years because of what's going on in the Superdome. But you'll see it's going to be outstanding, and again, second to none. Very proud of that. That's on our nickel. State's not paying for that. But the rest of the many things that are going on in the Superdome, Maureen and others have been involved in that. Again, so you're looking, we've invested about $250 million, I would say, over the last couple of years between the Superdome and what we're doing out here, and we're not finished. You're going to see a lot of neat things today, and then I will tell you Monday, our colleagues at the Pelicans, there's construction starting next door in the Pelicans building as well. We have media areas that are going to be expanded, meeting room space that's going to be expanded. Their food facilities over there are going to be expanding. Meeting rooms are going to be expanded. So all of the things that we're doing, however, do fit into our master plan that we have. And the only thing I would say is that when we finish with what we're doing now, we still have other phases. I would say other things to do in phase 1. We're not ready to announce yet, but we have a phase 2 component, which I think will be extraordinarily exciting, not only for our organizations, but for our community and for our parish and the constituents in the area. So, again, we have a lot of exciting things to do. Unfortunately, like I said, we have to have training camp somewhere else this year. But at the end of the day, it's going to be phenomenal, I think. So, with that, I'll open it up to any questions, really any construction questions. I mean, again, Mo's been here through it all. She's been our construction manager dating back to 2010. So she's had a hand in every single one of our construction projects. Ed's been here since 2012.
Yeah.
He's had a hand in all of them as well. So any construction project you want to talk about in the past, now, or in the future, happy to talk about.
Can you just tell us a little more about like the concept for the cafeteria space and how that came about, like in particular the viewing area for the practice field? Because I don't think a lot of other teams have that, right?
They don't. It's very exciting. I'm gonna let Mo talk about it, but we want to do a couple things with it. We went and visited Miss Benson and myself and some other folks, visited other practice facilities, and there were a couple of other practice facilities that had that incorporated into it. One of the things that, and all of you have been in our practices, and you see when we have fans that are out there, it's limited, obviously. the number of folks that we could have out there. But one of the bigger issues too is a safety issue, and we're always worried that we might have a player run into a fan who's out there. So one of the ways to do that we thought was to bring that up to the second floor from a safety perspective, and still fans will still have the opportunity to enjoy and watch the players practice, but do it from a safe area. So that was some of it. Our sponsors, we talked to a lot of our sponsors. Our sponsors love the idea. We'll allow some of our sponsors to use that area, to watch practice, and then a lot of we have a number of requests from them to also use the area when we're not practicing for other events. Our sponsors in our sponsorship department. So that was part of what went into it. But Mom, if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, well, what we did, in addition to doing the study with Gensler, our master plan study, where we benchmarked the Saints against other NFL teams and their locker rooms and their training facilities, we did an employee survey, and some things came out of that the employees really wanted to see an outdoor dining area, which we've now incorporated into it. But one of the key things for both players, fans, and sponsors was being able to see practice from the indoor facility. So it's kind of an engineering feat. You'll see when we go out. We took the space that was between the existing cafeteria and the existing indoor training facility. We've made that now into a 2-story building, where on the ground floor we'll have a private dining room. Then you go up the stairs and we'll have another viewing area with sliding doors, so you can open it up and see practice. The cafeteria itself is going from 6,000 square feet with a 1,000 square foot cooking area to almost 14,000 square feet with a 4,000 square foot kitchen. So you can imagine the upgrade we're going to be able to have and what the food we can provide for the players. We're going to have wood-fired pizza ovens, carving stations. I mean, it's really going to be an upgraded dining experience for the players. And you'll see also when we go through the weight room, we've renovated our little nutrition nook that we have in there where the players can get smoothies, and we've added a DEXA lab where they can test their body fat. I don't want to go there, but anyway, so there's a lot of good things going on, really just to enhance the player experience. And as Dennis mentioned, we're almost doubling the size of the locker room at the Dome, and hopefully we'll be able to take you on a tour of that in a few months. And the Pelicans renovation is starting on Monday, which, again, will improve their facilities. So it is, as Dennis said, it's ongoing. I keep trying to retire, but every time I do, he comes up with a new project. But they really, the Saints are just so committed to what they do for their players and their employees, and it's we've got a lot of good things going on.
To Mo's point, just a little bit of background, and again, some of the older folks in the room know. When we built the indoor practice facilities, when we originally built the cafeteria and the cooking area, it's 1,000 square feet now, but it wasn't even 1,000 square feet back then. Really, the theory back then, and again, talking about future-proof, we were naive enough to think that we were on the cutting edge back then. But the idea back then was really a warming kitchen. It wasn't even a full-scale kitchen, and so that's what it was built to do or to be. And then after we realized that we were really handed out or cooking 3 meals a day, we had to make some major improvements. But the truth of the matter is we've really never addressed it like we're addressing it now. So again, hopefully it'll be future-proof for at least 5 years before we start the project all over again. So yeah.
You guys do have practices like mandatory minicamp here, helping with 90 players. Going to California for that, but how challenging is it when everyone is still here? Is there anything you've had to put off while everyone's here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we're doing now and putting off. I mean, all the meals now, even for our employees, are in many respects we've had to cut back significantly. The rest of them are scheduled. I know. I'm not sure if you folks have been around, but you see a lot more. Food vans and food trucks and doing a lot of food trucks right now. So yeah, I mean, we're trying to do the best we can to continue to feed our players and staff and do it in a high class, fun type of way as well.
It's fair to say that going to California will allow you guys guys to kind of ramp up?
It's full scale. Yeah, we would
Yeah.
not be able to do that if we weren't away
Right.
for a few weeks, and that's when you're doing all the build-in.
Yeah,
and
we're going to
all-
have to have power shutdowns, and, there are a lot of things that happen in a construction site that are unforeseen, and it's just better if we don't, we can move a lot quicker if we're not having to work around the players and the coaches. And
Dennis, to a degree, how much is the culinary history of New Orleans played into which is served in a cafeteria?
Yeah, it's funny. We get that question a lot, and I would tell you, I would absolutely love, and I know Mickey would. We would all love to have New Orleans Creole Louisiana food for every single meal. Unfortunately, we have a team of nutritionists who often say we can't do that. So we used to just fire nutritionists, but then we had to stop doing that too. But all kidding aside, we do try to do that. We do bring in chefs from around the area. There are some restaurants we bring in as well. Again, what we serve, how we serve is really dictated by the nutritionist. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that the food can't be spectacular. And so we went a couple of years ago. We had a great caterer, but we decided we were going to make a change, and we basically went on a national search. We found a new caterer who came in very high regarded. That lasted for a couple of years. We thought we could do better, so we went out again on a national search. And so when we do have a caterer that comes in and does the work that we have, we try to find the best one who is astute at doing the types of things of feeding 150 people all, at one time. And having said that, the other big thing is we want to make sure that they can work, and they can work in a way with our local cuisine in a nutritious way that players can enjoy. I would tell you, if you look at our menu over the last couple of years, is expanded about as far as it can expand with the limited cooking capability that we have. And so hopefully we'll see. Obviously, that's why we're doing this. We hope to see a significant improvement in the food and the food quality based on the size of the kitchen that we're going to be providing, the best caterers in the world working in conjunction with local chefs. So.
Yeah, one of our biggest issues has been storage. Like,
Right.
we just haven't been able to store fresh food. In fact, when we hired Flick, who's operating the cafeteria now, they asked us to rent, and you may have seen it last year. We had 2 big storage units out in the back, next to the cafeteria, because they wanted to start serving fresher food. So we rented a couple of storage units just to try to be able to keep more food on site, and so that part of expanding to 4,000 square feet is a much, much larger storage area for fresh food.
I know when you all moved into when this opened in 03, I think you were like Nichols, obviously, before that, Nichols State, and it was like lacrosse before that. So does that mean that, I guess, Irvine is a one-year deal, or is that like a Mickey Dennis question, and potentially come back here for this once it's all done?
No, we have every intention to be back. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, things happen. Hurricane evacuations happen. God, I hate saying that. But, yeah, we fully intend to be back.
that's the other thing to mention, too. With where we are, every facility we build that affects the players or the coaches is on generator power. So if we are here during a hurricane, this whole cafeteria, the indoor facility, the locker rooms, the training room, everything goes on generator power, so we can just keep going.
Dennis, just to alleviate, like, one of the big things we hear from the fans is like, well, what if they go to California and they win 13 games? Like, does that change the thought process of the offseason?
Well, I'll say this. We won the Super Bowl and we trained here. So you have to do better than that, I would think. But I don't know if you can. But no, again, we plan to come back. I mean, why wouldn't we come back now? We have the greatest cafeteria we can ever have. We have the greatest weight room, and you'll see that we just improved. There will always be things out of our control. I mean, weather being the most obvious one, and Mickey deals with that with our training staff all the time. And it's about hydration, and it's about a lot of other things. And again, things can change, but the intention is we're coming back. And look, no one wants to be back more. I can promise you, Miss Benson, Mickey, myself, the folks that we get it. We love having our fans there. It stinks when we don't have our fans here. That's kind of why we put off this construction as long as we did. To be perfectly honest with you, is because we were hoping that perhaps there could be a better way not to impact our training camp. But at some point you suck it up and you have to do it, and that's where we are. So.
Is there a hope at all to be able to negotiate or navigate the NFL rules about having fans in attendance at training camps that are in competing markets, things like that? Currently, there's some clause where you're not allowed to open.
I think if you, I think the NFL is open to you having fans or whatnot in the market. I think that maybe pertains more to sponsorship. Yeah, but I can tell you we have a great relationship with the Rams and the Chargers, and that's not an issue for us that I'm aware of. Yeah.
So are there plans to even pursue the idea of opening training camp?
I think there is some plans. I don't know if it's going to happen based on the layout and what's happening there. Again, we're going to try to get back to New Orleans as quickly as we can. We're also working right now on having off-site practices like we did a couple years ago. So we're talking to a couple venues that would have us, welcome us, and hopefully we can use those facilities too. So I promise you, we understand how important it is to have the fans there, and we talk about it constantly. It pains us that we don't. We can't wait to be back. It seems like we were really starting to find a groove with the way we were hosting our training camp with the fans and with the shade and everything else. And we're ready to bring all of that back and improve on it. And part of our master plan, again, I don't want to go too far, is actually trying to figure out how to improve the training camp experience. Maybe turn in the fields.
Permanent bleachers.
Permanent lights. And so that's part of that's part of the plan as well, which I think would be outstanding. And that kind of alleviates a little bit of the heat issues if we're practicing at night. So that's part of the discussion as well.
The off-site venues would be once you're back in California here? Or
Yeah.
Just to clarify, the setup at Irvine is set up to where it might be difficult to have people, and is that kind of just logistically the way that's set up?
Yeah. That doesn't mean we won't, but I mean, they're working on that now. Yeah, it's one of the issues they're working on.
With expected renovation completion being in November, what are some of the things that you expect to overlap with the NFL season here at the facility?
She says November. I'd say September, August. But I don't know, Mo, I'll let you take that one.
I think really the issue is going to be feeding the team. Where you all had lunch, that was built last year to be a storage room for the weight facility expansion. And then when we decided to start the cafeteria, we said, well, where are we going to feed the players? So we took it away from the weight guys and made it into a temporary cafeteria. So the one challenge will be that's where they're going to have to feed the players during the for most of this next season. But other than that, we shouldn't really have any issues.
Could you clarify when exactly you started planning for the cafeteria? Because there's a misconception that because of a grade.
2019, we started planning for the cafeteria.
I have a full set of plans up in my office. I mean, literally, the full set that's dated April of 2020.
Yeah.
So those were finished in April 2020, and then of course
That was COVID.
That was COVID, and we were actually going to start this project a lot earlier. Then COVID hit, and
we couldn't get the steel for it.
Yeah.
And so and then.
We've been trying to transformers, and I mean,
Transformers produce some issues, but look, it's coming together now, and I mean it's an abundance of respect for any grade that's out there. I've said this once before. I can't be more respectful. But it's definitely not why we're doing what we're doing here. We really do want to have the best facility that we possibly can, and it's been. Even when that grade came out, even if we said let's start then, you wouldn't be where we are today. Yeah, I mean, you certainly wouldn't have the construction going on.
A project like this takes a good year to plan, design,
permit. Yeah. Yeah, everything we do out here too also has to get state approval too. So that has to go through the LCD process, and so it takes time.
Dennis, Alan kind of touched upon this after the draft. Did you notice the changes in the draft room?
Outstanding. I mean, really. I mean, it's magnificent. How big
Yeah,
is the
it's-
screen? I know he likes.
8 by
bright.
37
I mean,
LED screen.
I'm not a scout, and Jeff Ireland and his crew do an outstanding job. However, I am in the room during the draft process, and I mean, what we did this year, we couldn't. I mean, the speed, the amount of information at your fingertips. I mean, it was just outstanding. It was so impressive, and so I know the football folks. You said DA mentioned it. I didn't see it in this press conference. I know they were all very, very impressed. So, and that was a pretty big investment too.
Yes, between that and the weight room, that was a $3 million project. We did them in conjunction. We did the weight room and the draft room at the same time, and that was a $3 million
Yeah.
project.
Is that separate from the 12 or? Is
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have this product in the draft room that it will also be in the cafeteria. It's called Smart Tint. It's where you can tint a piece of glass and you can make it clear or fully opaque with a switch. So during the draft room, when the cameras were showing, the DA and the scouts were in the room behind it, but you couldn't see it because we had the tint on. But then you can turn the tint off and you can see in and out of the room. And we're going to do the same thing for the
Practice facility.
practice facility. So if there is an event going on upstairs, but they have an indoor practice and DA doesn't want people to see practice, we just turn the tint on and it's blackened out. So
Which is
some
pretty
new
cool.
technology we're
And
using.
here's another thing too. Most of our employees are eating during lunch, and I think from a motivation standpoint, at least I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for any of our players. If I was practicing and I saw everyone else eating and it was about 12:30, I think I'd be thinking about going to lunch. And so one of the things that we can do is, like she said, press the button and it'll make the glass, opaque, and so you don't see,
The secret plays that are going on.
Well, not only
The
that,
secret
but the
plays.
other way, don't see everybody gorging on their pizza that
Their
they just
wood-fired
got.
pizza.
Wood-fired pizza, yeah.